I say it's our responsibility as your friends, your neighbors, your community, your fellow citizens to lift you up and help dust you off and get you back out there. I say tell your story because it's the only way that we can break through. You deserve better. It's why I became an economist.
Does this evidence of this lack of job growth, for lack of a better term, give us more evidence that most likely a recession is near?
I think what I said, I want to be a little careful about what I think I said. So let me go back. Economic forecasting is hard. It's hard for the same reason weather forecasting is, but it's hard for one more reason, which is with the weather, it's determined by the laws of physics. There's no policymaker who sometimes wakes up in a bad mood and decides that maybe he'll create a rainstorm over Chicago. And so the problem with economic forecasting is not only do you have to forecast something difficult, the White House could knock you off course. And that's such a big factor that the claim I believe I made is that, and I made this at the beginning, around about April. I said, if Trump continues down this full Trumpist path, and this was just around Liberation Day, I said, I think the chances of a recession are about 75%. If he pulls back and acts like an adult, like a standard Republican administration, so you don't have to do what I want, but if you make Mitt Romney the Secretary of the Treasury and you follow his advice, we're down to 25%.
Wow.
25% was already high because of the damage Trump had already done. And I think, roughly speaking, where we are on that spectrum determines what your forecast is. So he backed off the tariffs, but then he put them back in. He went after the Fed, but then he backed off, but then he had another round. So when he's in the middle of that, I'd say it's a 50-50 chance of a recession. Some days it looks like he's pulling the trigger for the full Trump, and I think that won't end well. But other days he taco is the term of art.
Right.
And, you know, if he doesn't do the dumb stuff, we're not going to have the bad outcomes.
I'm just wondering, and this might be an off-topic question, but do you think that there are a lot of people in this country that are worried about our economy when you see people like President Xi, Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin having meetings, which they did not have when Joe Biden was president? We don't know exactly what they were talking about. Donald Trump feels like they were conspiring against the U.S. Does that worry a lot of people in this country from an economic perspective at all?
There are so many questions there, Brian. So first of all, let's just stand back and celebrate that there were three men willing to cuddle on international TV. It's a new model of masculinity, and perhaps that's what the moment needs. And if that's your perspective, and I think I'm half joking, the real question is, why wasn't our bloke there cuddling? And what would a Trump cuddle even look like? I mean, maybe Putin might be the only one to have been cuddled so far, and all that occurred in private. So let me go back and answer your question. What's happening is we've proved to be an unreliable friend to the rest of the world. You know, my daughter came home from middle school a couple of years ago, and someone in her friend group was proving to be an unreliable friend. So they got up and sat at another table. They wanted friends. And trade is a lot like friendship. It's ways in which, what are the ways in which I can make you better and you make me better at the same time? And so folks who are finding the US hard to work with are looking for substitutes. And so she is looking closer to Modi and to Putin. And so this idea that we're going to flex our muscle actually has turned out to, I think, undermine our geopolitical positioning. If you want to be a giant on the world stage, you got to stand on the world stage.
Yeah.
If you don't want to,
agree. Yep.
Isolate yourself and make yourself an island. That's what we've chosen. We shouldn't be surprised the rest of the world's doing business without us.
Tell me if you agree with this statement, because I led off with this, Justin. It appears as though, we are paying more for consumer goods, housing, electricity, and everything else. And these job growth numbers are absolutely atrocious. The health agencies are in shambles right now. And yet, Donald Trump is making billions of dollars off to this on this crypto scandal thing. What is there to be happy about right now when it comes to the economy?
Oh, I've got some good news. Right after I hang up with you, my family's going to go and get a kitten.
Oh, that's good.
Chirp. Chirp is grey and cute and beautiful. And it may not be the question that you're asking about. Look, I want to give us all some perspective. You and I are having an important conversation. The important conversation of what are the ways in which our economy is falling short of what's possible. And that shortfall doesn't have to be that way. We can be a little more thoughtful. We can have better policies. We can elect smarter politicians. They can put better people in, and all of this. That's the shortfall. And our job is to scream and yell and be unhappy about that shortfall, because with an economy this big, even a fraction of a percentage point of a shortfall is enough to pull many, many families out of poverty.
Justin,
we are in the richest country in the world.
Yes.
In the richest year in world history. So we're not living up to what we can be, but I still want to go ahead and show a little gratitude and recognize all of our privilege that we live in extraordinary times.
That's true. Last question for you, not to give people therapy. That's not your job. But what do you say to the people out there? They're going to be losing their medical benefits if they haven't already. They're going to lose their Medicaid. Many people are going to lose their food stamps. Many people, as you know, are losing their jobs, and they're on unemployment longer. They're struggling to get new jobs. What do you say to these people right now? And you know, I ask you this because anybody in the Trump administration is, for the most part, going to lie and give you fairy tales. This is what you do for a living.
Yeah.
What do you say to these people? What is the truth to these people that say, Justin, I'm struggling. I just lost this, my job. We lost our food stamps, our medical coverage. What do you say to them?
I say, I'm sorry. I say, I feel your pain and I see your pain. I say, it doesn't have to be this way. I say it's our responsibility as your friends, your neighbors, your community, your fellow citizens to lift you up and help dust you off and get you back out there. I say, tell your story, because it's the only way that we can break through. You deserve better. It's why I became an economist. It's why you're talking politics every day, Brian. It's why your audience tunes in. We care.
Yep.
There are people all around you, people you've never met, who love you, who want you to thrive, to have a job that brings you joy or meaning or puts food on the table and lets you buy a kitten to share with your kids. And so to those of you who are not struggling right now, these are the stakes. This is why we do it. This is why it matters. And I appreciate you connecting. You know, we start off by talking about jobs growth and you bring it back to how are people feeling. And there's no truer economics than that, mate.
Yeah. I second that one, my friend. And I appreciate your time as always. Justin, there's a reason why you're on all these national networks. It's because you're so good at what you do. And I apologize. Next time I will be clean shaven for you. Okay.
Don't do that on my behalf. Next time I'm going to put on a full suit and a tie and everything.
You definitely don't have to do that for my show. But I think the only time I ever put on a suit was when I interviewed Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and that was a mistake. By the way, there's some listeners that want to know, what will be the cat's name?
Well, the shelter calls the cat Chirp, but I've got two children who think that they get a role in this. Chirp is a young lass, all grey. Maybe I'll report back on whether Chirp gets a new name in my family.
Okay, just don't call the cat MAGA or Lutnick, and we'll be okay. All right, Justin, I love having you on, my friend. I really do appreciate your time. Thank you so much. We'll let you get back to work, and thank you so much.
A great joy. Thanks, mate.
All right, there you go, Justin Wolfers, everybody. You've seen him everywhere. CNN every day, MSNBC almost every day. He's on all the national networks. There's a reason for that. He's a really smart guy, and he's really good at what he does. Economics professor at the University of Michigan, and we always love having him on.